The opinions expressed on this program represent the viewpoints of individual authors or contributors and do not necessarily reflect those of Troy University. This is Alabama Politics with Steve Flowers, an in-depth interview with Alabama's top political newsmakers. Now, from the studios of Troy University, here is Steve Flowers.
I'm Steve Flowers, and welcome to Alabama Politics. Folks, we're fortunate tonight to have as our guest one of the 5 candidates for the Republican nomination for the U.S. Senate in the upcoming primaries this May 19th. Mr. Rodney Walker, who is a well-liked gentleman from Clay County up in the northeast corner of the state, a great part of the state, home of Hugo Black and Bob Riley, two contrasting philosophical people. Good to have you on the show, Rodney.
Well, thank you, Mr. Steve. It's a pleasure to be here in Montgomery today with you.
It's a beautiful day here, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Just walking in, I think it's in the 80s today. It's real warm outside, and it's not a cloud in the sky.
Now, Rodney, you're a Clay County man. Were you born and raised up there?
I was actually born in Talladega County.
Right close by, though.
Yes, sir. My grandparents both came from Clay County, but they moved over to Talladega to work in the cotton mills when there wasn't any work in Clay County.
What mills were going on in Talladega at that time?
Well, you had the Bemiston Cotton Mill, you had Wehatchee Yarn Mills, and you had Crown Textile. And there was a Brecon Knitting Mill, several other mills.
Every time when you mention that, when someone mentions their grandparents went to another county to work in a mill, cotton mill, it reminds me of my home county of Pike, close to where Stacy's from. Troy's there. And during the Great Depression, half my county literally moved off the farm because they had a bad drought and every farmer lost their land. They moved to Phoenix City to work in the Columbus mills.
Yes, sir.
Half the people who came from over there. Matter of fact, I was in the legislature with a guy named Leslie Vance, who represented the Phoenix City in the legislature. And he had a funeral business, big funeral home director business. And he told me he knew the connection. His family had come from Pike County. He said, Steve, one year I buried more people taking them back home to Pike County than did bury them in Russell County. I didn't mean to get off on that, but so you came on back. Did you finish high school in Lima?
No, I moved back to Clay County when I was 13. But honestly, we drove back over to Talladega, and I finished school at Talladega High School.
You started there.
Yes, sir. And all my classmates. There was 400 and something of us when we started in the 9th grade at Talladega High School, and 147 of us graduated. We had an awesome class of people.
You mean 300 people dropped out of high school?
Yes, back in 1987, there was a lot of people that moved away or dropped out.
Well, how old does that make you, Rodney? How old are you?
I'm 56.
That ain't nothing.
I graduated early.
56 ain't nothing.
Yes,
so
sir.
That means you graduated high school what year?
I graduated in 1987.
Now, you've been successful in business but diversified. Tell me what all you did when you got out of high school and everything.
Well, I have a Alabama General Contractor's license. It's number 21991. I've had it since 1991 to build commercial buildings. I have Walker Lands and Cattle, which is 750 mama cows, 26 bulls, about 700 calves, and we also have the largest gooseneck trailer dealership in the United States.
Is that right?
Yes, sir. And since then, we've formed Patriot Fueling Centers, and we have 6 of those that's scattered across the state of Alabama, Lineville, Alexander City, Montgomery, Wetumpka, and all the way down in Opp near Andalusia. And then we also ship fuel on the pipeline each cycle. And we have Wedowee Quarry, which is a granite rock quarry in Wedowee, Alabama.
So your first venture was in farming or in building buildings?
Well, so just to really throw a wrinkle in this, my dad was in the office machine business, Talladega office machines. And so when I went through high school, I worked for him. And then I started my farm and then combined along with the construction business where we started building buildings for ourselves and renting those out.
Did you have to accumulate your land yourself? Was it in your family or what?
No, sir.
You got a bunch of land for your cattle to be on, don't you?
Well, we have 3,000 acres now, but honestly, I've bought it piece by piece, and most of it was timberland before we bought it.
Tied it all together?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
A lot of folks have done that in the past, but did well business-wise. But now you got all your cows in Clay County?
Yes, sir. Every one of them's there, and it's all contiguous. There's houses that are scattered along, but all the land's contiguous.
Now your wife Stacy is from Andalusia in Covington County. How did y'all meet?
Well, there was one person that was a friend, a young guy that lived over close to us, and he kind of introduced us together. His name was Martel Durrell, and they're in the road boring business, and that's how I met Stacy, and her whole family's from Andalusia.
Now, y'all got married what year?
It's been, now you're putting me on the spot, aren't you? It's
Stacy's not here with us.
That's right.
She'll be married with you, won't she?
It's 9/16 of 2023.
She goes everywhere with you.
Yes, she does.
Rodney, now tell me this: how many children? Tell us about your children and grandchildren now.
So we have 3 boys. Jason, he lives in Ashland. He's a grand champion auctioneer.
So you live close to Ashland,
Yes.
rather than Lineville.
Well, I live between Lineville and Delta.
Where is Ashland? Is Ashland the county seat?
It is, and it's about 5 miles away from Lineville.
All right, I knew they were close by.
And then we have Sean, and he's recently moved to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and he sells fuel. And then we have JD, and he lives in Birmingham, and he's an auditor for Regions Bank. And then I have 3 grandchildren.
Which one of the children has a child?
Jason has all 3.
The older one lives with y'all.
Yes, sir.
And he's in your business with you?
No, sir. He used to be in business with us, but now he's a grand champion auctioneer, and he's married to Mary Elizabeth, and she's a school principal and so forth, and they do their thing.
Well, now, how old are your grandchildren? Ballpark.
In other words, Rhett is about 4 years old, and then Russell is 2 years old, and then Tilly is only 6 months old.
I bet Stacy has been away from them, doesn't she?
Well, we on the road so much. We on the road all the time. You know, we're traveling from Huntsville to Mobile and everywhere in between.
Well, tell me this. You talking about that? Let's get into the campaign. At what point did you decide to run for the U.S. Senate?
Well, I've done a lot of stuff behind the scenes. I've flown the helicopter for the Randolph County Sheriff's Department and the Clay County Sheriff's Department, and I did that for 8 years. I was the chairman of the rodeo committee for the Sheriff's Department. I've always wanted to do things to help people. I've been fortunate to save several lives. I believe 9's the count, flying, and got a commendation from the governor for busting up a theft ring that was down in Lowndes County. But when this seat became vacant by Tommy Tuberville, I started talking to my wife and my family and my friends, and I just got complete 100% encouragement from it. And so we just kept thinking about it and praying about it and making sure it was the right thing to do. And on July the 31st of this year, we filed our FEC candidacy papers.
So almost a year ahead of the primary.
Yes, sir.
Primary is May 19th, and you qualified or did your papers July 31st of 2025.
Yes, sir. But there's no time to waste and everything.
No, you find it a big state, aren't you?
Yes, sir. 67 counties, and I don't know exactly the number of miles, but the state of Alabama is a big place, but it's full of wonderful people.
It really is. And when you get out there, like you people running statewide, I always love to visit with y'all about your adventure. I've never run statewide, but I have almost a lot of papers around the state, and I used to visit my papers, carry my column, and but it's such a diverse but beautiful state. We've got the most beautiful state in the world. You think about what a difference, especially in the fall of the year, that northeast corner up of Jackson, DeKalb, and up there Mentone, and then you go all the way to the Gulf. What a diverse state.
But I'd like to talk about that because I love the state of Alabama. You got the Tennessee River up on the north end. You've got Huntsville, which is Space Command now, and we've always had so much military things with Redstone Arsenal. Go over to Florence, Alabama. At Waterloo, you've got the Trail of Tears, was the end of the trail for the Indians many years ago. Come down Tuscaloosa, you have the University of Alabama, but you have Mercedes and stuff. Lincoln, you have Honda. Cheehaw Mountain, the hottest mountain in Alabama. Come on down to Montgomery, so diverse, so many wonderful things. Alabama River coming through here. Go on down to Mobile, you've got Mardi Gras, you've got the Port of Mobile, which is an epicenter of the whole state, and then all the way over to Dothan, and cotton farmers and peanut farmers and cattle farmers and all the industry that we have here. I love the state of Alabama.
It's so diverse, too. It's a beautiful state. You know, I love our state too. And the longer you live, the more you're around it. I call it a big front porch. You know, you be talking to somebody and they'll realize, you know, they're from Dothan or something like that, and you know, say, well, actually, you're a little bit kin to me. You know, you find who people kin to each other, and you know, it's really interesting to find out about Alabama. It was such a diverse state, and but you're doing a good job covering the state. But it's kind of fun, though, isn't it?
I'd say it is fun. Now, I'm not going to say you don't get tired, but you know, what I tell people is that we making a lot of friends. You know,
You really are.
I've had a lot of friends. I continue to have a lot of friends, but I just love making new friends and getting to know new people, and I just love everybody, if you want to know the truth about it. So it's an awesome adventure.
You'll look back at this adventure, one of the best adventures of your life.
Yes, sir.
Win, lose, or draw.
Yes, sir. Well, I'm
You know,
hoping to win.
I think you will if you work hard. You know, speaking of that, you decided to run. Now, all five of y'all running probably philosophically are conservative. Obviously, Steve Marshall and Barry Moore are, and you are, and I assume the other two, Morgan Murphy and Jared Hudson, are basically running on conservatism and being the most conservative candidate in the race. It is a Republican primary, and we're a Republican state. Whoever wins the primary will be the next senator. But is there any burning issue besides just wanting to run for the Senate and doing what you're doing that you want to share with our viewers about what you want to accomplish in the Senate? The 6-year term.
Yes, sir.
You're one of the most powerful people in America. You're one of 100.
So
tell me that.
I'll tell you, there's a lot of issues, and anybody that would like to check out our issues, you can go on our website at walkerforalabama.com, and I put positions and issues on there. But some of the things that I speak about that really bothers me a lot is we need to bring the manufacturing of our prescription drugs back to America. 72% of our prescription drugs are made overseas. Now, the problem with that is, if you go back to the coronavirus and things like that, you know, it's easy to kill off the American population if you just go through our drug supply. So if you could imagine you and I taking our blood pressure medicine or whatever, but having a little portion of that could possibly be, you know, deteriorating our life, that's very dangerous. And we bring manufacturing and so forth back to the state of Alabama, but I want to bring all drug manufacturing back to the United States, and I think that's one of my most important things. Another thing is that we have to protect our land, and we have to protect our property rights. We've got 2,198,000 acres of agricultural land in the state of Alabama that belongs to foreign adversaries. And so let that sink in for a minute, that 2,198,000 acres of Alabama property belongs to foreign adversaries. Now that's timberland and ag land. That doesn't include, you know, where a plant or manufacturing facility might be. We need to make sure that American citizens are buying our land here. Do you know that Alabama is number 4 in the whole United States of foreign-owned land? And people can check this through the USDA website. All this is published information. Another thing is that I do not like foreign beef coming into America. Ladies, as y'all are cooking your dinner, you don't want foreign beef. You don't want hoof and mouth disease. You don't want a tick infection. You want to know that the USDA has inspected your food products that you're serving to your kids, because, you know, our kids, we got to take care of them. I support our veterans. Both of my granddads served in World War II. My dad was in 1151st Engineering. And as I said a minute ago, I didn't serve in the military, but I did fly the helicopter as the chief pilot for the sheriff's department. So I've served my time, you know, as a first responder. And veterans and taking care of them is a huge part of my platform. You know, our parents are the baby boomers, and so all of those people are aging and so forth now. A lot of those are vets that have fought for our country through Vietnam, Korea, and different things. We got to make sure that we have health care and things to take care of PTSD, and we've got to get the suicide rate down. That's very important to me. There's many, many more issues too. Infrastructure for the state of Alabama. You know, there's nothing that goes on as far as any type of construction or infrastructure that the federal government does not have some portion in. I mean, on our rivers and things, the U.S. Corps of Engineers just got through with the biggest dredging project ever done in Mobile Bay, where they dredged it out 50 foot deep so that you could get bigger ships in there. We have all types of foreign cargo ships that are coming into Mobile. We've got to build a turntable at the end of that. We've got to have funding to do that. Rivers are under it. Infrastructure includes roads and bridges and railroad tracks and pipelines that bring our fuel into our state, and rivers, streams, everything. All that's super important to me.
You know, Rodney, I can tell you're passionate about every one of those things, and you're not being programmed by some kind of media person to say that. It's coming from the heart.
Yes,
you
sir.
know, that's one reason why you run it is because, but you brought up some interesting points. Go back and talk about that drug thing again. It's the first time I've ever heard someone talk about that. Well, tell us about the percentage of foreign drug companies that we take our medications from now.
Yes, sir. And so let me say this. You mentioned I'm not programmed and I don't have a set speech. I speak from the heart for every speech that I give anywhere, and I'm always welcome for questions. But your question is, it's 72% of all of our prescription drugs are manufactured in a foreign country, such as China or Japan and others. That's a big amount. Now, don't get me wrong, American companies own that, a lot of it, but they farm it out to countries where that there's not the stringent inspection standards and so forth. If we can bring automobile manufacturing parts and other things back to our state or the United States, the first thing that we can do is bring our prescription drugs back by a tariff.
You know, you talk about that deep in the port in Mobile, which Senator Shelby deserves a lot of credit for that. He got a lot of money from Washington to do that dredging and making that canal, that port, deeper and wider. Have you been able to spend much time in Mobile?
Yes, sir. I've spent time. We was actually in Baldwin County at Robertsdale this past Saturday morning, and we had a Republican women's meeting that we went to. Later that night, we was at Dauphin Island for a South Mobile County Republican Women's Convention. We've spent time for the Alabama Forestry Association at Gulf Shores. We spend a lot of time down there. Sometimes people in Mobile say that they've been forgotten about, but I want them to know that Rodney Walker has not forgotten about them. I've toured the Port of Alabama. I'm very passionate about our port. One man said that we haven't had but 2 ships built in the last year. Man, when I was down there, they had 5 ships that they're just rolling out, and there's constantly welding and stuff going on for other ships, and we got airplane manufacturing. But we're becoming one of the largest cargo terminals in the whole United States. And then something that people don't really think about, farming still feeds Alabama, and farming feeds the whole United States. Well, in Mobile, we have one of the largest grain elevators that there is. There's only 4 shipping elevators, grain elevators where you store corn or soybeans or whatever. There's only 4 of those in the United States that are coastal. Portland, Oregon, then we have New Orleans, and we have Mobile, Alabama, and one more. Well, if we don't start utilizing that port, that grain elevator, they're going to tear it down. But right now it stores 3 million bushels of product that can go straight out and go to China and send, our product overseas. That's what we got to start doing, is making sure we're selling more of our product somewhere else, like we did when my grandparents come along.
Well, Trump's doing a little bit of that.
He is. And Tommy Tuberville's on the Senate Ag Committee, and it's my desire when I go to D.C. for you, I want to be on the Senate Ag Committee and take that up.
I was going to ask you about that. I had Coach Tuberville when he first ran for the Senate like you did, sitting right there, and I asked him that question. I said, Coach, if you win, what committee? He said, Agriculture.
Yes, sir.
And he stood by, he's worked hard for agriculture.
And I'd like to be on the Armed Services Committee.
Well, that's what he's on, isn't he?
Yes, sir.
He's on Armed Services.
I would like to take his position.
They would be open, you see.
Yes, sir.
Well, those are 2 important things for Alabama.
Yes, sir.
Agriculture and Armed Services. You hit on this, but we are a very, very pro-military state.
Yes, sir.
You take defense contracting out of Alabama, think about Huntsville. You think about Fort Rucker and the Wiregrass, Maxwell Gunner here in Montgomery.
And PCI has a big division, and then you have it in Mobile. I mean, how many? There's not a lot of different places that build Navy ships, and we're building them right here in Mobile, Alabama.
That's the future of Mobile, that and Airbus.
Yes, sir.
That's how it's changed in the last 10 years, with those two industries being there. Do you know also, Rodney, Alabama is the second largest automobile manufacturing state in America
Yes, sir.
at this time. We've got everything. Mercedes started that,
Yes, sir.
but we've got Honda and everybody else here, you know.
It's awesome. I've toured some of the automotive subcontracting plants like KTH up at Leesburg. We're going to tour a lot more of them. We're going to tour some of the defense contractors and so forth. But as your U.S. Senator, I want to help all these people that are already here. I've got to work on bringing new business to the state of Alabama, but I want to help our business that's already here too, whether that's small business, whether it's defense contractors, or whether it's Space Command. There's a lot. Alabama's full of a wonderful bunch of people, and we need to help all our businesses.
Well, now, you'll work well with the Congress, because we've got a really fantastic congressional delegation.
Yes, sir.
And they're all getting some seniority too, Adderholt especially. Adderholt, Robert Adderholt in the 4th, Mike Rogers in the 3rd. Both have, Robert Adderholt's got 30 years in Congress. He's not but 60 years old.
Yes, sir.
And then Rogers is probably 65 or 70. He's got over 20. Strong's coming on strong in Madison. And Gary Palmer's got some seniority in Birmingham now.
Yes, sir.
So we've got some seniority-laden congressmen.
Yes, sir. And I work well with all of those people. I'm trying to go out and visit them, each one personally, and spend a little time with them. And also, I work very well with Miss Katie Britt. I think she's one of the best senators that we've ever had.
She is. She's on course to be another Shelby by far. And she's got great committee assignments. She's done a great job. And she continues to every day. I don't know how she does everything, because she's pretty young. She's got young children.
Yes, sir.
Still at home, and she comes home to be at their ball games. She and Wesley do, and she's already one of the leaders in the Senate.
I went and visited Coach Tuberville and Mike Rogers and Katie Britt in D.C. several weeks ago, and man, she's got on her tennis shoes. She treated us like with the best hospitality that you could ever ask for. But she's got on her tennis shoes and she's running from one place to the other, voting and doing news.
I noticed that's smart too, because you can't maneuver those halls as fast she has to go to committee meetings and everything.
That's right.
In high heels.
That's right.
I think that's great the way she does it.
I do too. I mean, but I've never met a more sincere and honest person than Katie Britt, and I'm so honored that she is the person that brought together both sides of the aisle to get over this past government shutdown.
She's been a superstar for years and years. When she was a senior in high school, Enterprise High School, I, of course, was representing Troy in the legislature, had Pike County and Dale County, and I was speaking to Girl State. I don't know why I was asked to speak, but maybe it's because it was in Troy, and she was elected governor of Girl State. I mean, but I met her, and I said, that's the most dynamic young lady I've ever met. And I was actually called Senator Shelby, who was a good friend of mine at that time. I said, it still is. I said, Shelby, I just met the most vivacious, outstanding girl I've ever seen in my life. She's got governor, U.S. Senator written all over her. And he remembers that to the day. And he reminds me of it. He says, you picked her out early. Then he brought her on. She became his chief of staff, PR person for that. So he trained her.
Yes, sir.
To be in that job, and she really has done a great job. She's a real leader.
One thing that you kind of hit on there about training her and so forth, I've heard some other career politicians, say that you have to reelect those people because somebody new won't know what to do. Well, I'm going to tell you that I don't need training. There's a wonderful staff of people that works for Tommy Tuberville there in that office right now, and I certainly would want to keep those people. But you know, America has changed the dynamic by bringing on business people like President Trump and other business leaders, where you see that you don't have to have this bureaucracy. And honestly, I don't have anybody in D.C. mad at me, so I don't have any enemies.
You
know?
Really don't. That's a good point.
Yes, sir.
Because you make enemies, well, I was always told that more people vote against somebody than vote for them.
Yes, sir.
So if I were you, I'd run a positive campaign, and those other two guys, Moore and Marshall, beat each other up.
Yes, sir. Well, I've spoken to everybody that's running, and I've told everyone that, you know, I plan to run a very clean campaign. And talk about term limits a minute. I'm one of the only people that signed a term limits pledge. I know that one of my other associates, I saw that he signed one this morning, but I signed a term limits pledge about 3 months ago. And you know, I've met a lot of adversity about that, but I plan on serving my people of my state for 2 terms, which will be 12 years. I'll be 70 years old then, and I think that that's the time that new blood should take place. I'll be able to do a lot of
12 years.
Yes, sir. People says you won't be able to get nothing done. You won't be able to be on this committee or whatever.
12 years you will.
You can do anything you want to if you hit the ground running when you get there.
Kitty sure has.
Yes, sir.
I mean, she's been there 3 years. Then you wait 20 years to be on the committee she's on.
Yes, sir.
Appropriations and rules and banking.
Yes, sir.
Well, Rodney, our time's about up. I hate to tell you that. It goes by in a hurry, doesn't it?
Yes, sir. It goes by fast.
Well, thank you for taking time to be with us.
It's my honor to be here today. I hope that we could come back again, but I want to thank you so much for having us, and I want to thank each of the people in the great state of Alabama that might be watching this show today for considering me as your next U.S. Senator.
That's a good way to end it right there. Always asking for the vote.
Yes, sir.
Folks, our guest tonight has been Rodney Walker, a candidate for the U.S. Senate from Clay County, and we thank you viewers for watching. We hope you tune again next week for Alabama Politics. Thank y'all.
This has been Alabama Politics with Steve Flowers, a production of Troy University Television. Opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of Troy University, its administration, faculty, staff, or students.